So you're thinking about running, but not sure how to take the first step. My name is Brian Patterson, and I'm here to help. Welcome to Brian's RunPod. Welcome back to Brian's RunPod. Welcome back to the podcast, and it's me, Brian Patterson, to give you an insight into all things running. Well, on the second part of this episode with Merili Freear, we start to talk about how she started taking her running journey one step further by taking out running qualifications. Later in the episode, we talk about the process of writing her new book. I really do hope you enjoy our interview as much as I did, and I really do encourage you to buy the book, as it's written by someone who has a real passion for her sport. So moving on briefly is basically, so you've obviously really got into it, really enjoying it, and you think you're doing your half marathon. So what made you want to sort of take it that next step? And because I know you took up some running qualifications, is that right?
Yes, well, after I got that IT band injury that I have spoken today, I felt that I needed to learn more about running, and more than I could get from internet and from books. And well, instead, I could have just booked a session with a running coach. Instead, I thought that, well, I would like to actually understand it myself. And so that was the driving force to wanting to become a running coach, to learn more about the running form and, how to do it right.
Yes.
Pretty much, because I thought that then I can help myself, I can help others for might suffer the similar things. And yeah, it somehow it happened because it seemed something that again that I couldn't do, because to start with I started to look where I could do my mandatory bits for the training, because you need to deliver some sessions, and I wasn't even a member of the running club at the time.
Yeah.
But close to where I live, there is a brilliant running club. I contacted them. I joined the club, and with their help, I was able to first get a run leader certificate. I needed to do at the time everything was via video, so I had to do a session, take a video of it, and send it to England Athletics, and then we went through it during the session.
Right.
And what I liked about running coach course, because that was actually face-to-face sessions. So we were with a small group at Sheffield, and on indoor track we did our sessions. There was like learning as well, but I loved the practical part, because there were a lot of people with a lot of experience. I was newbie really, and I learned so much from those people, and I cherish that experience, because it just taught me what to look out for. Because one thing is when you watch a video and you think that you know what you learn, but the other thing is to actually monitor other coaches and get feedback for your running, give feedback for their running, and it was really good experience. As a part of the running coach training, I had to deliver a session at my running club as well. I'm somebody who worries a lot about things and find things.
Ditto. I'm the same. I'm the same.
Even doing the podcast, it's something that I worry about. But I think the more you do those kind of things and you place yourself into challenging situations, then more resilient you become.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased that I did it, because I think it has taught me some important skills that I can use in like business life as well, not just running.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you, because even, I don't know, in my things that I've done where maybe I failed at, I think you can learn a lot from that. It's like
definitely. Self-regulation
I know.
is
Yeah, it's maybe seeming a little bit off topic, but I mean, I think if you're not afraid to fail at something, you can find there are a lot of. It's quite empowering that you can learn quite a lot of things even from failure itself. So, Yeah.
No, I think it's very, very much applicable to running because if you have like your small goals, maybe it's to run your 5K and maybe you fail, but you learn from it, and next time you do better. That's why it's important to track your runs and reflect back to them that you could learn from it.
Doing that course, was there any one thing or a couple of things that really spoke to you that you could take away from, let's say, that was one thing I learned, or a couple of things.
If it's just one thing, then it was the proper arm drive.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes.
So it's really simple and really important, and proper arm drive could help you to improve your running technique so much. And so if I'm on a race and maybe I'm not doing that well, then I'm remembering that focus on your arm drive, and even that just helps because I'm focusing on that one aspect, and I know my form is getting better. But the bad thing is that after knowing the good arm drive, now I'm looking at other runners, and then you kind of want to go to them and say that, well, you should be doing it a bit differently, but well, I'm keeping it to myself.
So I get a bit, I don't know, lately I've been getting kind of a bit, I don't know, is confused or kind of getting a bit stressed about sort of running technique. I mean, you've just said, about you're talking about getting a proper arm drive, but I've been hearing a lot about, cadence, you should be doing 180 or 170 cadence, that kind of thing. What are your opinion on that? What was your opinion on that?
Well, I understand that ideal would be that if you have that faster cadence, then you would be more efficient. But in reality, there are a lot of runners out there that maybe don't have that ideal cadence, and they do just fine. So you can try to improve your cadence. Maybe you use metronome or playlist that have like 180. But if it gets to that it's just makes your running as a chore that you don't enjoy it anymore, then I would say that other aspects of your running form are much more important, because my cadence is not ideal, but I do some exercises to get it faster. Like I do drills where I run round downhill as fast as I can, like hill sprints, but downhill hill sprints, and then I recover to the top, and that helps to get your cadence really up. So just to get do those kind of things, or I do strides in the end of the run. So maybe I do a long run and then I do some strides. It means like they're like maybe 100 meters. You run as fast as you could, and then cover and again. And that's another thing that can help you get your cadence up. So maybe just can do things like that. But in the end of the day, if your cadence is not ideal, it's nothing wrong.
Because I know some watches, I think Garmin have a sort of cadence app thing.
They do.
And in fact, I have the Apple Watch, but there is a cadence app on there, so you can just sort of listen to the thing. So they're sort of a metronome. But do you ever get? And I know I do. Sometimes you're obviously you're being a runner and being a coach or whatever. But do you ever look at other people running and you kind of analyzing them, or you kind of look at other runners, when they're running along and you're out with your family and that kind of thing, and then you're thinking, oh, I wish I could run like that, or they look effortlessly, sort of thing. And
Yeah, all the time.
All the
All the
time.
time. It's like a curse after the running coach course that you just go out and when you see even from the car window the runners, then you
Yeah.
automatically look at how they're running in good form or bad form. But
Yeah.
I suppose it's not a bad thing because
Yeah.
you learn from it. And because my form is, although I am a running coach, it's far from perfect. And there are times when I run with better running form and there are times when it's not as great. But I have learned, especially during the past maybe 2 years, that enjoying your runs is way more important because I mainly run for my mental health, that to feel good and keep my thoughts
Yeah.
manageable and everything like that. So I think if you start focusing too much of all of those aspects, then the enjoyment goes, then that's not a good thing either. So maybe just
Yeah. Yeah.
just leave it.
Before I move on to, the motivation to write the book, when I do kind of interval sessions, I always find that because of the intensity, I kind of get that, runner's high at the end of it. I mean, is that the same with you, or, doing interval sessions? I think before we started recording, you said you weren't a big fan of speed work, but
I do interval sessions because you do get that. I like my little hill sessions because I know that they make me faster and it's rather challenging to do them as well. Yeah, that's true. I'm not a fan of fast running, but intervals are a bit different because you have a bit time to recover.
yeah,
So
yeah,
so you don't have to go, everything that you have for 5K. You do a little bit, you have a bit of recovery, and then you go again. So
yeah, yeah,
it's more manageable, and plus that ever many intervals you have planned to do, like if those 8 ones are done or if those 12 ones are done, then you're done and you can just jog.
yeah. But and also, I think from a mental point of view, and sort of improving your determination, I think they're brilliant. I mean, it's not just about you getting faster, but I think it's great because it's like you even on a treadmill. I think the treadmill is great. I mean, treadmills, doing normal runs on treadmill is terrible, but to do an interval session on a treadmill, I think that it's great. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree because treadmill is good. I'm just looking on the side because I'm just sitting next to it.
Oh yes, you said you got your own treadmill. I remember you saying in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a treadmill and the indoor bike. My husband mostly used the treadmill, but I do use them for some of the interval sessions because I like you can do that hill part as well.
That's right.
On a treadmill, like treadmill hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It builds the resilience because
That's right.
intervals are hard. It's you kind of get that same effect like you would run far, but it just comes, that hard comes a lot sooner.
Yeah. And I really admire you because I know you in the book, you were really good at just leaving your watch behind and just going out and just running. And either you were going to run, let's say, from lamppost to lamppost, that kind of thing. I find that really difficult. Oh, it's really difficult to do. It's like, oh no, I haven't logged my run. How did you find that?
Until some point, I was a Strava user. Well, I still have an account, but I don't record my runs there anymore. And I found it really freeing because before I was worried that I have to kind of explain myself that I had a bad run or I just did a short run or something like that. But then it doesn't matter. You just go for I don't do those kind of runs where I leave my watch behind or I cover my watch very often, but I went for one of these this morning because I had a difficult run on Sunday, and I found really difficult to motivate myself, and I felt kind of like I'm a runner who doesn't like running suddenly. And so today I thought I will do it differently. I didn't take my phone. I didn't take any music. It was raining, and so I just went because I went for my usual route where pretty much I know how far I am from, because I have done it so many times anyway, and I really enjoyed that run. I got home, I was soaked from the rain, but it was really enjoyable run, and I don't mind that it's not recorded on my Garmin or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because does it matter?
Doesn't,
Are you
exactly.
running for yourself,
It doesn't
or
really
are you
matter.
running
Yeah.
for all of the Strava users? But it is difficult to get to that stage, because I was like that. I was recording everything, and I just, when I made that decision, it definitely freed me.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I think when I looked at I'm not a very quick runner or whatever, you look at your past pace, it's roughly the same, it's not going to change or whatever. And then, or maybe you kind of just look at what you've done before, either whether it was a tempo run or an interval session or that kind of thing. So it's not going to change a lot. So at the end of the day, and the other thing, what was I going to say? I was going to say something else, but I've forgotten what it was. I think it'll probably come back to me in a minute. So, so then you've got all of this experience, and you think, I'd like to write a book about it. So, was that something that kind of you had this revelation overnight, or was it something you'd been thinking about for a while?
Well, I kind of wanted to write the book since I was a teenager. But I never thought that I could actually do it. It was never the right time, or I didn't have anything to write about. And then suddenly came that running. I started running. I ran my first marathon 5 months after I started running, and it seemed something that, well, it's impossible. Me who didn't get along at school with physical education, and then I'm suddenly running a marathon, and well, I ran my first marathon, and it was less than 5 hours. So I thought for somebody who is for the first marathon, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Especially running solo and with heavy winds. So I felt that I want to write about it. And initially I thought that maybe it will be a blog post, although I didn't have a blog, but I thought that maybe I could write to somebody else's blog or something like that. And so it started to evolve from there. I started writing, and then I went for the runs, and then during the runs I got some brilliant idea, and then I came back and wrote it down, and during some of the runs I just recorded those ideas on my phone, just speaking to my phone, that I wouldn't forget what brilliant revelation I had during the run, and so that's how it evolved. The beginning took a while, but my book evolved with my running. So as I was writing it, then I went for the next goals, and to start it, I thought that I will finish with my second marathon. Then I thought that I finished with my first ultra, and well, I still didn't finish that. So it just evolved over time.
Because I thought it was quite inspiring. Sort of right at the beginning, you said you kind of set a goal as to how many words you were going to write and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, so over, was that easy to get into a rhythm of, writing, were you recording it, or, and then you type it down, or write it down, or how did you do it?
To start with, I opened like a private blog for myself without anybody having access to it. And so it gave me easy option to, if I had like a topic, maybe I just had a title and then I wrote whatever I had on the topic, and then I had another topic and I wrote a little bit again, and then at some point I became more systematic. I copied them all in a Word file, and I tried to build up my book structure and filled in the gaps, and then I started systematically work on it.
Yeah.
I think at that stage, because I have been working as an internal auditor for 10 years, it kind of reminded me of the structure of writing an audit report, because that one has all sorts of structure as well, the bits that you have to write. And I
do want to tell you something, is that internal auditors were the bane of my life in a job that I used to do. So.
Yeah, I can imagine that, because I kind of see that myself now.
Anyway, yes, carry on. Sorry, I was interrupting you.
It's all right.
Yeah.
So I started to systematically work on it, and a lot of work went into during the past year when I hired an editor, and she did a manuscript appraisal for me as a first thing, and the book that went for manuscript appraisal was 52,000 words, and we ended up with 66,000 words.
Wow!
So it's just,
and how long did that take?
Well, she did the appraisal, gave her feedback and her ideas where I should expand, and then I worked on it for the next few months, and then she edited it. So yeah, it's
all right.
From November to March, roughly.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's impressive.
Story. Yeah. I was working hard, but
especially over Christmas.
Hiring an editor was definitely something that pushed me forward, because although I had some friends and family who had read my manuscript, but having somebody whose job is to recommend things and say that where I should expand, or it's a lot better, because it's more work goes into it than just from the friends and family's feedback. Although that was all very useful as well, because as an author you could often overlook some inconsistencies because you're so used to your text. So it was definitely helpful that friends and family read it first. But I'm ever so grateful for my editors.
Yeah. So did you, so what you saying, did you kind of build a structure first and then you kind of like fleshed it out, or did that kind of organically?
So I first wrote those small bits, and then I built the structure and added those small bits to that structure. And then I just tried to expand, and maybe I had already had chapter title, and then I wrote the chapter, and so it wasn't written like from the beginning to end.
No,
it was written here and there. So but that's how it worked for me.
Yeah.
I think when you're busy and you can have time to do maybe little bits at a time, that's what works the best. So
Also, it gives you a bit of
said about my sorry.
And also it kind of gives, kind of an overview of the book itself as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you thinking of writing a book?
No. Well, there is a very famous saying of, there's a book in all of us.
Yeah.
So
it's difficult. It's not easy. I can't lie, but it's worth it then.
Yes. I mean, I didn't do very well at school. So, but then again, your story is quite inspiring because, exercise and running wasn't natural to you. And you have, it's become a hobby for you. You've written about it. You've sought to gain knowledge professionally about it. So, it's amazing how that's kind of turned around.
Thank you.
So, and Do you think you will write another one?
Yes, I actually have plans for another one. I have started the file, but I haven't got very far. So it will happen. It might be a while.
Yeah.
When I first finished, I thought that never again. But then I got this idea, and I just couldn't let go.
Oh, right. Okay. And do you think because you've gone through a process of, you've gone through the process of writing a book, do you think you'll do things differently, if you do another one again?
Yes, definitely. Some things will be easier because I know now what I need to do. As with this one, it has been a deep learning curve. Self-publishing is difficult, and learning all about all the different platforms and what you should be doing on what time and everything like that. It's not made easy for self-published authors to compete with traditional published authors, but it's possible. But you have to learn a lot to make it happen. It definitely will be easier second time around.
And that's also in this world of, people, YouTube videos and, people, watching movies on screens and whatever, it is quite a welcome sight that, people can take a book and then read and gain from that.
Yeah, I personally really love reading. So it's, I think if there wouldn't be coming new books out there because of the movies and people's short attention spans, it would be really
yes,
sad.
That's true.
Because I still appreciate the paper book. I rarely read on Kindle, but I prefer the paper.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, we've coming up to the end of the podcast. I'd just like to say a big thank you for coming on the podcast. I'm eternally grateful and really privileged that you've come on. I thought it was a wonderful book, and I'd just like to say to anyone listening, please do go and buy it wherever you can buy it, Amazon or wherever. And is there any links you'd like to promote, or?
It would be great if readers if they would like to follow me on Instagram. My handle is Merili Runs.
Yeah.
And
do you have a website?
My book is available on Amazon. It's also on Apple Books, Google Books, and Barnes and Noble.
Brilliant.
So check it out.
I just got a couple of things I'd like to ask you. Is there any one piece of advice you would give to new runners?
What I would say that with all that advice out there, don't get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Just focus on one piece of advice at a time. So if you want to improve your running form, don't take every aspect of it all at once. Just maybe ask a friend or a family member, take a video of you that you could go home, look back to it yourself, and maybe just choose one thing. Maybe it's my favorite arm drive. Maybe it's how you hold your head or feet. Just focus on one thing at a time, and it will get you results. Just don't forget to enjoy your runs.
Exactly.
This is the most important part, because if you're getting too stressed about all that running form, cadence, pace, and you should be doing this and that, and don't focus any of it. Just go there and feel good, and it doesn't matter how slow you are. It doesn't matter how far you go. You go out and you run, and you're a runner, and that's all that matters. So don't compare yourself with others. You own that run.
Important lessons.
Do what works for you, so you can do it.
And do you have a sporting icon, someone who you look up to, either in running world or whichever, any sport?
I haven't even thought about it like that. There are many runners I admire, but because I'm currently training for 100-miler, I see anybody who has ever done that distance is an icon for me, because it's seems something so unattainable, so big. So for me, that person who I would admire wouldn't have to be that top athlete. Doesn't have to be Scott Jurek or Rich Roll, who I do admire a lot. But I admire those regular people who have done extraordinary things.
Great. I think that's a great place to stop. Okay, I'd like to say thank you very much again. And as I said, if you follow the links, I'll put in the description, then I'll put a link to your book as well, and also some of the other books you've talked about today. But it's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
And that's a wrap for another exhilarating episode of Brian's Run Pod. Thanks for tuning in, folks. As always, we've got your back with all things running. And next week, get ready for some awesome beginner hints and tips to kickstart your running journey. Oh, and before we sign off, exciting news. We're now available on YouTube. So whether you're pounding the pavement or chilling at home, you can catch us there too. Plus, we have a new feature on the podcast. You can now send me a message. Yep, you heard it right. Brian's Run Pod has become interactive with the audience. If you look at the top of the episode description, tap on send us a text message. You can tell me what you think of the episode, or alternatively, what you would like covered. If you're lucky, I might even read them out on the podcast. Hey, if you want to keep up with the latest updates, behind the scenes fun, and even some exclusive content, make sure to follow me on social media. You can find me on Twitter, or should I say X, at Brian's Run Pod. We've also just launched a shiny new Facebook page. Simply search for Brian's Run Pod and give us a like. And don't forget to hop on over to Instagram, where you can catch all our visual adventures at Brian's Run Pod. For those of you who love diving deep into the episodes, head over to our website, www.briansrunpod.co.uk, and there you'll find detailed show notes, handy chapter markers, make it too easy to navigate through our favourite discussions. Please leave a review, as it will always help others find this podcast. Music is by Happy Days by Stock Audio, not forgetting artwork by Alice Patterson. Till next week, thanks again for listening.